Hi, this is Fran again. Welcome to my second video in my series. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to make a beautiful fresh tomato sauce for you today from my garden tomatoes and my garden basil. I'm going to pull together cherry tomatoes, regular tomatoes, yellow tomatoes, all kinds of tomatoes to put a nice marinara sauce together. Welcome to my garden. I have some beautiful basil. This is called lettuce leaf basil, which is a larger leaf. It's really quite nice and very fragrant, and we're going to use that in our pasta sauce today. And this is Genovese basil, which is just a different type of basil, which is also delicious. And we're going to do some picking of this maybe next week, and I'm going to show you how to bottle it for the winter. I have nice parsley coming up here, and here's my tomatoes. I've done a lot of picking already, but there are some ready. I have these beautiful lemon yellow tomatoes, which are absolutely delicious and have very few seeds in them. And maybe we'll use some of these in our sauce. I have a beautiful rosemary bush here, mixed with a flower, and a little bit more parsley, and some nice cherry tomatoes here, which can be picked. This is a beautiful bush of beautiful heirloom tomatoes. Look how nice. They could probably stay on the vine another couple of days, but I'm going to let them finish ripening in the house. I got a little one here. Let's not forget that. And then I'll pick some of my cherry tomatoes, and then we'll come back when I'm inside. So I have a lot of tomatoes from my garden, and there's a combination of yellow tomatoes, red tomatoes, cherry tomatoes, small heirloom type tomatoes. I'm just going to trim all the stems. First I'm going to give them a wash, then I'm going to trim all the stems off of them, and I'm going to cook them with just a tiny bit of water so that they steam and start letting off their liquids, and then I'm going to run them through a sieve. We'll come back and I'll show you how that's done. So these are all cleans. I've taken the stems out. I've taken anything that looked a little like a blemish. I chopped them up into a nice big chop, and we're going to get ready to cook these down on a nice simmer. Bring them up till they get nice and hot. Bring the flame down to a little simmer. I'm only going to put 1/4 inch of water on the bottom so that I don't get any burning going. I'm going to lid them, and I'm going to let all of their juices out, and we'll come back in a minute. What I have here prepared is my food mill, because I want to run my stewed tomatoes that have cooked down really beautifully now into a nice soft stewed consistency. But I want to get the skins out and I want to get the seeds out, so I'm going to run it through this food mill for you. If you stay with me, I'll show you how to do that. Just ladle the tomatoes right into the food mill. Be careful, it's hot. And just start running it through. It'll pull all the skins and all the seeds out. Have a little patience. As you can see, these tomatoes from the garden let off an awful lot of water. They're very juicy. And when we run it through the sieve, and what we end up with ends up back in the pot, we're going to leave the lid off. And we may even add a can of regular crushed tomatoes, or we may add some tomato paste to tighten this whole delicious stewed tomato. So this is what you're left with, the juice from all your tomatoes. It's not a very dark red, because don't forget we had a lot of yellow tomatoes in here as well. So you have a lighter sauce, but the smell, the aroma is outrageous. So I'm starting with a nice clean pot, and I'm just sauteing about probably 7 cloves of garlic on the bottom of this pot in a little extra virgin olive oil. You want to bring it to a nice golden brown, not too dark. You don't want a bitter taste. Just get that garlic going, and then we're going to add the juice from all our tomatoes back in here. There's a nice golden color for you. You can pour your tomato in. Now, as I said, this is a very thin sauce here. And I'm going to need to thicken this up by boiling it down for a little while and letting it thicken. But I'm also going to add 1 bottle of tomato sauce. It's actually a puree, so it's a little on the thicker side, as you can see. And this will have a little bit of thickening on the consistency on this sauce. That's it. I'm going to add a little more kosher salt. I added just a little bit before I stewed them so that the liquids in the tomato, the juices will release, which they did. And now I'm going to flavor my sauce by adding more salt, lots of black pepper, and a big handful of fresh basil from the garden. So the sauce is cooking down beautifully into a nice consistency now. The smell is superb. You cannot imagine how delicious this smells. I wish we had smell-o-vision. Just garlic, basil, salt, pepper, very simple. Fresh tomatoes, and 1 bottle of tomato puree. So we decided to make some gnocchi today to go with our fresh pasta sauce. And all you do here is boil a little water, add some salt, throw in your bags of gnocchi. I used 2 pounds today. They really don't go far, but they are heavy. And you wait for them to boil and float up to the top like that, and that's really it. They're ready. The gnocchis are ready. We're going to add a little bit of sauce. Gnocchis are very flavorless pasta. They're made with potato. So you want to add a nice amount of sauce to add some flavor to the pasta. Just give it a little toss. Oh, you have no idea how good that is. I'm going to add some grated cheese on top of that. I have some ricotta on the table. Buon appetito. I'm going to add a little bit of grated cheese to this. Let's eat.